Hey, yeah, there's been an issue lately, and I'm not liking it. Yeah, there's been like the microtrend thing. I thought that was a quarantine thing. I thought that was because people are losing their minds, so they lost common sense. Therefore, fucking having trends that last between 6 and 8 weeks. But this has been an ongoing thing, and I kind of want it to end a long, long time ago. Like, what happened to a sense of self? There's been a loss of self within this community, at least in my area, in the Americas. Oh my goodness. Ego, whatever, ego. That's the sounds they make. Ego. So what the fuck is a microtrend? A microtrend essentially is just a trend but smaller. Essentially, in the past, in recent years too, that a trend would usually last at least a season, between 3 and 6 months. But this 2020, trends have been lasting for as little as 2 to 4 weeks, up until 6 weeks. And 8 weeks when you're lucky. And that's been kind of the thing, and that's been kind of true, that these micro trends are very harmful, not only to the individual psyche, but also to the environment and to the appreciation of art and the sense of self and how we perceive people and how we befriend people and treat others as well. So yeah, that's essentially what a micro trend is. Yeah, that has been a thing with book talk, that has been a thing with plastic surgery, honestly, all types. I was going to say the fox eye plastic surgery trend, but it's with every type of plastic surgery, with micro links for different types of semi-permanent plastic surgery, with clothing like the butterfly sequin. Okay, well, my second light turned off, but whatever. And that's the thing, consumerism isn't new. People have been over consuming since day one, but at least more in particular, I know for sure post 9/11, and also especially in between the years of 2016 and 2018. And yeah, that was the top years for consumerism if you were into makeup, as well as with video games. I'm pretty sure a video game came out every season, every year, every second. I'm pretty sure video games were hot because nobody was ever starved for video games. It was only up until recent years people have been complaining about a lack of video games and a lack of quality games at that. Micro trends would usually be for something much more smaller, like makeup, which wouldn't be that bad because people will still use the makeup but in a different way, or they just won't really talk about it, but they'll still use the makeup, they'll still use the skincare, right? They'll still use even the hair products, because I know for sure the natural hair community, anyone with curly afro curly hair, we're fucking up those hair products every day. And the good subgenre of people with straight hair, they love hair products. So I know that was a thing. For a micro trend to be a person's actual life and lifestyle, that's kind of scary to me. And it's like you can't even try to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Lots of companies and brands, their thoughts are like, well, why the heck would I spend so much money and time to make quality clothing if people are not going to want it and buy it after a certain period of time? If there's a 90-day cycle of my product clothing, since it is a short-term trend, why must I use extra raw cotton and similar good quality fabrics? So therefore people will be using polyester and viscose and other type of clothing material that is essentially plastic, man-made material that is not good for us. And yeah, that's pretty much it, which is kind of why that people have been talking about lately. The quality of clothing has been worse, and it actually has. It really has. I remember a perfectly good thick cotton t-shirt was $20, and I was like, what, under 15? It was like 14 or something. I remember when I was like 5 years old, it was like $8 or $10, sometimes $5. Now for a good quality cotton t-shirt, it's like at least $30 to $50+ but it isn't thick like before. And it's hard for me to find actual thick shirt. And the last one I found a thick shirt was Lacoste, and their shirt's like $200+. And right now, people aren't really paying artists that much, so I can't really just go drop bands on the fucking shirt. But yeah, that's kind of the issue. And it's not really just the companies, it's also the consumers, because they're like, at the same time, why the heck would I give a F about the quality or just this piece of clothing in general if I am going to throw it away within 3 to 8 weeks, because it's going to be a trend and the trend is going to end. So like, why would I care about it? Why would I keep wearing it? So it equals plastic clothes and extra landfill. And the bad thing about that is that these clothes are not biodegradable. The thing is, if these clothes were biodegradable, we would be able to send these clothes off into different parts of America where people cannot afford clothing, and even different countries, all around the world where people cannot afford clothing, because all of these clothes are getting dumped out in third world countries like parts of South Asia and countries in Africa, and even some countries in China and other countries in Asia. And people are paying the prices for our responsibility, like what we're doing. And although people are getting clothing, technically it's not good clothing, and it's just a bunch of just landfills sitting there, and none of it's decomposing. And it takes over 1,000 years or something, at least 100 years, for one piece of plastic product to decompose. And that's the worst part, that consumers aren't pushing for biodegradable product, but also they aren't really respecting and caring about the earth and quality of products itself either. So itself, why would companies and brands care if they can afford to just not care and spend 6 cents on each product rather than spending $1.25 on actual biodegradable products? Recently, people are being fake activists or real life activists and are refusing to buy from Shein, but in reality I feel like niggas are still buying, but on the low, because I see products that's on Shein, because sometimes I'll be curious to just visit the store and see like what they're doing and what they're selling and providing that makes it so popular. And I'll see some things that's on Shein that I see other people wear. However, people aren't as open to talk about their Shein hauls and what they buy their stuff from. But it has been a known thing that even things like celebrities, D-list, A-list, B-list celebrities, whoever, right? But like some celebrities, some Instagram famous, some influencers with over 600,000 followers and whatever amount of money, some of them like during live streams or something, or even videos, are open about shopping on Shein, whatever asked about it. However, because of people being so hostile towards people shopping on Shein, people are much more quiet about it and just may speak about it when asked about it. Essentially, what's funny is like, I'm not saying don't shop on Shein. You don't shop if you don't agree with it. But Shein isn't as different as H&M and Forever 21 and Uniqlo and Fenty Beauty, Fenty Savage, and even Skims. Like, they're all the same. I went to Target and I found a clothing product that was the exact same thing I saw on the Shein website. Target does the same thing, Walmart. So I don't really view Shein as any different besides of, quality control and how they treat their employees, which is bad. However, us not buying their clothing doesn't mean they're still not going to do that. And even probably like companies like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Chanel possibly do same things or similar things as well. And it's been a well-known thing that these companies like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Hermes, they actually do either bring in migrant workers, like immigrants from China, and for cheap third world countries and poor people, they put them in Italy and they force them to work in Italy for 5 cents an hour to get the made in Italy thing. Or what they'll do is they'll basically hire people from third world countries. They'll pay people less than $5 an hour to do 90% of the work, and they'll bring in regular artisans in Italy, and then they'll do like touch-ups, or they do the sole of the shoe, or they do certain details to be able to say made in Italy. So it's not really like Shein's doing anything different than every other branded company is doing, but people have been really quiet about it because people have been really, like I said, hostile and aggressive towards those type of people, even though these people shop on fast fashion sites like Fashion Nova ain't no better. Yeah, Fashion Nova ain't no, I'm just saying. So just look up, clothing brands and companies that don't contribute to slavery and the abuse of humans, because I can be a smart ass and say the iPhone and Android you're using is made by child slaves. And then the most recent one is reading. So yeah, reading has been the most recent one, but yeah, essentially people are fake reading or pretending to be an intellectual because they think it's hot. They think is the newest trend to be hot and smart, to be in a bikini reading. I don't know, The Body Keeps a Score. Like, I have books, nigga, please. Like, they really think that shit's hot. I don't really know. Let me just show you a book that I like, actually. All right, let me show you. Yeah, like I said, the IQ's a score. I have that book because I've been through some shit. Beyond that, I like psychology. I like learning things. But I had the IQ score. You can obviously see it's been aged. But I read my books because you can tell that on page 77 or 76, I stopped. And you can tell because there's a Dutch right here. So yeah, this is the recent book I bought within the past 6 months. Designer's Dictionary of Color. Essentially, I'm more than well aware of the psychology of color and things like that. However, I love to hear people's own thoughts, ideas, and their education. I love anything analog, and just like, people are like very mindless nowadays, as they were years ago too. But it's like, can you really tell me why you like this trend? And they can't. They just want to be seen cool. You think things are cool. I don't know. I can't really dumb myself down that much to be like, let me buy 15 books. Like, what the fuck am I buying 15 books in a row for? Why? And like, out of nowhere, why is everybody so horny? Like, me and my husband, we looked at our son, we were changing his diaper. We saw his big ass balls. Oh my god, his balls are as big as yours. I said to my husband. We both laughed. We both laughed at his big ass balls. That was a thing, right? What the hell is that about? And like, with this weird type of, I don't understand it. I don't know. I understand this whole trend of making really bad quality books. I know it started with Colleen Hoover, and then it just went on from there, because I know she's been making books since like 2016, but for some reason she like rocket scienced off. She fucking rocket blasted off to space, I don't know, in success in like around 2020 or something. She sold like over 2 million books. Basically, people are fangirling 35-year-old women and 40-year-old men, yes, everyone of every age, I guess, and every gender. Just fangirling over like some guy essentially being, I think, like at least 10 years her senior. She's like 18. He's like at least in his 30s. And like, he was stalking her, and she's like a vulnerable little girl. I'm like, it was something like, I can't believe how, I don't know, feral I'm going over this guy stalking this vulnerable, unassuming little girl.
There is no reason that I should be getting this unhinged over a man who is stalking this poor, innocent, unassuming girl.
But like in a good way. It's weird. It was getting Lolita, but except of like actually being disgusted, people like want to be one of the characters in the book, and maybe just only the little girl, or maybe both of the characters. I don't fucking know. Yeah, it's like, I don't really think you should be encouraging children and anyone under the age of 24 to be very legal and date a teacher or a grown person 20 years beyond your senior. Even if you have some type of, not a step uncle, but that whole entire thing of like the family friend seeing you grown up and now they want to marry you. Yeah, I'm talking long, but it's bad writing and people romanticizing dangerous things, but especially on a kids app for children. And a lot of people are vulnerable of any age, and there's a lot of children that are not really smart. The kids can't read. Half of America can't read above a 6th grade level. The average IQ is 98, and then the baseline is 100, alongside other things, obviously. But yeah, that's the fast fashion trends. And with the reading fast fashion trend is that people are buying a myriad of books, an exorbitant amount of books, without really even reading it or finishing it. And it's just like a waste, because other people could read those books and you always have the access to buy those books. So I don't really understand why people would have a thing called book haul and buy more than 5 books. Because why? I don't really care if you thrifted it for 5 cents. Why in general do you need 50 books as a book haul? Like, when are you going to read that? Why are you going to read that? Are they educational? Like, I just looked up some photos for a thumbnail for mine, and for some, anyways, it's harmful for the environment because, as I said, they could throw away that cheap plastic top. People just go through trends like nothing. So people will essentially just throw away any objects, any type of fast fashion furniture objects, any type of fast fashion lifestyle, clothing, semi-permanent makeup objects, materials, or services. Like, like people will essentially just throw out anything that doesn't serve them no more because it's not deemed as cool for some reason. And that's why it's also harmful for the environment, because these companies will continue to basically produce really cheap plastic items with PFAS in it. Essentially, PFAS, I forgot the name, the abbreviation, like polyX, girl, don't even start with me. PFAS essentially, for one example, is a chemical that is a forever chemical, and they're in things like waterproof like jackets, nonstick pans, and even some of our foods. And PFAS were actually in the in that one drink. I forgot, I think it was called Prime. It was I forgot his name, like K9 and Logan Paul or Jake Paul or something like that. Two niggas, a black nigga and a white nigga. Well, no niggas, right? Prime been out for like at least 4 years. Turns out it's just a bunch of sugar, probably a lot of caffeine and a lot of PFAS. So you're just drinking straight up chemicals. And that's why it's so harmful. That's why it's also harmful for the environment, because a lot of these products that we're buying, like I said, cheap lifestyle and clothing and things that are related, because people are putting PFAS and related type of chemicals in our products. Like I said, PFAS is a forever substance. It's a man-made substance, and we do not know how to remove it yet. And it's the main causing of cancer and various other types of deformities, diseases, sicknesses, and things like that. Companies have been well known to essentially dump massive amounts of chemicals, hundreds of pounds of these chemicals, into waters in places like Ohio and other places in the South. And it has caused people to get cancer, and for animals to essentially be deformed, or to get people at risk of getting ill because of essentially transmitting diseases. Like, whatever you want to buy, please make sure you use it long term, at least for 2 years, because as I said, that can basically, the hyperconsumption of people is also indirectly communicating to these companies that they do not need to make a high quality product, because people will buy any quality of the product anyways, regardless. As well as it makes no sense to make a quality product if people are going to throw away 3 to 6 months later, so it'll be a waste of money and time. So that's why they're making things that are costing us 66 cents to make and selling them for $2. Harmful for psychology. As I said earlier, that little girl was being bullied because she has some ugly ass Walmart cup, which ain't hurt nobody, but the girl needed Stanley to be liked or some shit. And that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of people are throwing away things or simulating and shape-shifting to be well liked, and on the other side of that, people are shaming people, bullying people, being mean to people, whether overtly or inadvertently, whether it's in their subconscious or conscious bias, that people are shaming, bullying others, or even alienating people because they're not following the microtrends of being the clean girl, or of whatever shit that's stupid as fuck. Because you're not assimilating into the microtrend, they may be ostracized or basically just isolated, which is why it's harmful for one's psychology, especially when in oneself you can lose your sense of identity and what is right, what is wrong, and what actually is nice and cool, and you just lose your sense of self and your self-esteem, even because you're putting your self-worth on how you look or what things you buy, how you look to other people, how you perceive to other people, not caring about yourself and what you like, and treating yourself as you're an object, you're a product, you're not like a real person. Because if you notice, you spend a lot of money every month on these things to throw them away only weeks later, as you're doing it to yourself in a spiritual way. Please no microtrends, no microtrends, no microtrends, no microtrends, only microplastics. Okay, enjoy the xenoestrogen and the microplastics. Okay, bye. Red 48 up, yellow 48 up. Alright, I'm going to edit this video and smoke my weed. Peace.